history repeats itself, it manifests differently every time it happens, right? So there's, it harkens back to the last time it happened, but there's all this new information that, all that this new geopolitical environment that it's happening in. And I think what's interesting about this is when you look at not just the conflict that began, because it's still ongoing and developing, and we'll see what happens. But what else in the world is happening at the same time?
Yes.
And when I read the news, my first thought was, what's the goal here?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great question. And I don't think anyone's asking that question. So I'm interrupting you to compliment your good question. But please continue, because I think you were onto something super important right now.
Yeah. So what's fascinating about this specific conflict is, generally when you look at incursions or acts of war, the goal has to do with territory, right? Russia, Ukraine, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Vietnam, Korea. It all has to do with territory and being, taking control of a land and a people and governing, and having extra resources. But that doesn't seem to be the goal here. And the stated goal is actually, we basically want to kick you in the nuts for all the wrongs that you've been doing to us over the years. But then what?
Yeah.
Right? And Hamas is being backed, for sure, Hamas is being backed by other powers.
Right.
So what is that goal, right? It's not just what is Hamas's goal. What is the goal of the people backing this development right now?
And
right?
let's be clear, because I think we know a lot more here than we're just touching the surface right now.
Right.
Who backs Hamas? Iran backs Hamas. It's also important to understand that Hamas around the world, while being labeled by Western powers as a terrorist organization, is a legit charitable organization, specifically for supporting the Palestinians in their plight against Israel.
Right.
So as a political organization, Hamas actually has a charitable arm.
Yeah.
And they collect monies specifically from wealthy Sunni Arab countries. Who are those wealthy Sunni Arab countries? Qatar supports Hamas.
Yep.
Saudi Arabia supports Hamas.
Yep.
Iran supports Hamas. That's super relevant here because geopolitically speaking, what you have is an opportunity for Iran to upset Israel and Israel's developments with the Arab world by sending Hamas in to basically cause an international incident.
Right.
Hamas doesn't have to win. There's no way Hamas can win.
Right.
The Palestinian enclaves are 1/3 or less the size of the entire Jewish nation. But they house an equal number of people. Yeah. There are almost 7 million Israelis in Israel. There are almost 7 million Palestinians in Israel, living in a territory less than 1/3 of the size, split in the middle between the Gaza Strip and the West Bank.
Right.
So everybody knows that those populations are poor, poverty-stricken. They have no formal military. They have no police force. They they're barely surviving.
Right.
So to send in, to launch an attack from the Gaza Strip into Israel, you're not trying to take territory. You're not trying to win legitimacy. You're not trying to take the capital. You are literally, like you said, you're doing a gut punch.
Right.
That's all it is, a sucker punch.
Right. Because, I guess, defining a win could be I sucker punched you, right? But normally when it's when it's two states interacting, a win is I took your land, I took your people, I killed all your people, right? But they can't do any of those things. So,
So it's a sucker punch for what aim? Not for Hamas's win. It's a win for someone else. And I agree with you. The most likely country driving this conflict is Iran. Iran wants Hamas to bloody Israel's eye because they know that Israel is going to continue its history of human rights abuses. And this is something that people do not take this seriously enough. Israel is not a good place. Israel is not a democracy that reflects American values. They are not. They have a long history of human rights abuses, documented, registered. They're on multiple Human Rights Watch organizational oversight committees, like people know Israel is guilty of torture. Israel is guilty of apartheid. Apartheid is still alive in Israel. It's what they do to the Palestinians, right? They restrict human movement. They apply segregation. They apply, they intentionally use different laws and a different legal system and a different policing unit when they deal with Palestinians versus Israelis. I mean, the discrepancy in how they treat people based exclusively on religious practice is well known. Not well known. It's not well known in the American population.
Right.
It's well known worldwide, particularly in the Arab world, but not to the American population, where we believe that Israel's our friend, because that's what mainstream media tells us. If you like this short clip, make sure you click here to see the next clip, or here to see the full podcast episode.
So fresh, so new.